the beautiful holly tree steeped in history, mythology and folklore. Let's take a look at this beautiful tree. Holly is the UK's most common evergreen. Its Latin name, Ilex aquifolium, means with pointed leaves, but not all of them are prickly. Holly trees grow between 10 to 25 metres tall. The bright berries are an important source of food for many birds and wild animals. Holly is very clever and arranges the time exactly to control how its seeds are dispersed. In autumn and early winter, the fruits are hard and bitter because of the mildly toxic compounds. Repeated winter frosts break down those compounds, making the berries tastier in late winter and early spring, when most of other berries have long gone. Did you know the higher up the holly tree, the less spiky the leaves become? Holly leaves are slow to break down, so hedgehogs, small mammals, toads and slowworms hibernate in the deep leaf litter that builds up beneath the trees. Holly is known as one of the most sacred trees of all, especially at Christmas. It's one of the festivals that we still do old customs and folklore. And we don't really think about it. We just bring the decorations in and put them up, whether we have a wreath or a bow or a garland. But it goes back thousands of years because holly is protective and was planted by the houses to stop lightning strikes. The thing is, we think it's folklore, but science now knows that the little prickly leaves indeed conduct electricity. A variety of birds love the holly tree for nesting, shelter and food. In the Mirror of Literature, an article dated on Valentine's Day 1829, it features the festival in Kent where an ivy girl and a holly boy take part in the festivities and rituals. Have you burnt your Valentine's holly boy yet? The Mirror of Literature for 14th of the 2nd, 1829 reports on a rural Kent custom. All the village girls would gather to steal and burn an uncouth holly boy effigy from the boys, and the boys would steal and burn an ivy girl from the girls. The custom of a boy dressed as a holly boy and a girl dressed as a ivy girl still goes on today in rural England. The two of them will parade around the streets and bring good luck and hope for the future. Holly leaves represent the crown of thorns of Jesus, and the red berries, the bright red berries, represent the blood of Christ. Since medieval times, the plant has carried a Christian symbolism. Christ is represented as the holly and the Virgin Mary as the ivy. It is even expressed in the song through the well-known Christmas carol, The Holly and the Ivy. This is the beautiful yellow-berried holly. You don't see it as much as the red-berried holly. They say if you take 9 leaves off the holly, wrap them in a lovely clean white cloth, tie it 9 times, put it under your pillow and go to sleep. Then when you wake up in the morning, all your dreams will come true. The beautiful yellow-berried holly, the Ilex aquifolium brachyflava. There were taboos against cutting down holly trees, and they were often left uncut in hedges when they were trimmed. A more arcane reason for this was to obstruct witches, who people believed ran along the tops of the hedges. More practically, farmers used their distinctive evergreen shapes to establish lines of sight during winter ploughing. The Duke of Argyll even had a prospective road rerouted to avoid cutting down a distinctive old holly in 1861. When we put our wreaths on the door at Christmas, we just think of them as being jolly and colourful. But there is a meaning behind it, and it is that when you put your wreath on the door, The soul of your loved ones will be there. It's rather lovely. The Romans used to use holly for their festival Saturnalia. What they used to do was they made beautiful bows with the holly, and they would give them to their friends with lots of lovely gifts, and this was to celebrate their god Saturn. The festival was celebrated at the Temple of Saturn in the Roman Forum, and then a public banquet followed by private gift-giving, continuous partying. It was a real raucous affair. The Druids believed the holly tree was so sacred, they used to make their wands for protection from the holly tree branches. The Druids also believed that the holly leaves would protect them against evil spirits and wore holly in their hair. In ancient folklore, holly looks after all the fairy folk. And so if you cut some branches of holly and take them inside, the fairies will follow you in. And if you let them sit by the warmth of your glowing fire, your year will be full of luck and happiness. Oh, I am green in winter time, when other trees are brown. Of all the trees, so saith the rhyme, the holly bears the crown. December days are drawing near, when I shall come to town, and carol boys go singing clear. Of all the trees, oh hush and hear, the holly bears the crown. For who so well beloved and merry as the scarlet holly berry? During Hogmanay, Scottish New Year, tradition was to put a coin, a silver coin, at the bottom of the holly tree, and that would make the fairies happy. Have you ever seen the fairies that live in holly trees and swing about and in and out as lightly as a breeze? They polish up the holly leaves and paint the berries red. We're doing this for Santa Claus, the little fairy said. The old saying goes, if the holly has an abundance of berries, then it's going to be a very harsh winter. Before Victorian times, Christmas trees were always holly, and holly was actually referred to as Christmas. Sometimes you come across a lone, magical holly tree in the middle of the woods. Another old custom that is still done today is the Holly King and the Oak King. And again, people will dress up as the Holly King and the Oak King. The legend goes that the Holly King rules for half of the year, from summer to the winter solstice, and the Oak King will then rule until summer solstice. The Holly King was depicted as a powerful giant of a man, covered in holly leaves and branches, and wielding a holly bush as a club. Like the oak tree, holly is also associated with the gods of thunder, like Thor. Thor with his mighty hammer. Both the males and females produce red buds, which develop small white flowers in May and then develop into fruit in July. To enable the female tree to fruit, it will need a male nearby. Holly is dioecious, which means it doesn't have the male and female parts on the same tree. It is either male or female, and the female plants are the ones that produce the red berries. In the works of Shakespeare, many trees are mentioned, including the holly tree. Hey ho, sing hey ho, unto the green holly, most friendship is feigning, most loving mere folly, then hey ho the holly, this life is most jolly. From As You Like It. I hope you've enjoyed this episode all about the wonderful holly tree. Even on this cold, dark day, it still looks so beautiful. Until next time.